Hey all, sorry, I'm moving this out. I'm trying to share my screen. So we just got an update that they are back out in the Beach Creek area. That's TBI and Hawkins County right now. We're back in the Beach Creek area looking for summer wells. I'm trying to pull the information up. So I was just notified by a friend that they are back out looking and searching for summer wells. And all this stuff is, it kind of makes you wonder, are things starting to unravel a little bit, for Don and Candace Wells? We heard, Candace state on multiple occasions she's no longer in love with Don. She loves him that because, she's her children's father, but she's not in love with him anymore. And we know that that's got to be getting back to Don. We know that what she's saying online is getting back to Don somewhere, somehow. Could law enforcement be utilizing the things that she is saying in an effort to, extract information? Could this be a pressure tactic? It absolutely could. It absolutely could, folks. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't. We know nothing, right? That's one of the things with police investigations and why, teams like ours go out there personally, because we get nothing from law enforcement. We get nothing unless we go out there and hunt for it ourselves. And sometimes you just can't get everything sitting at home on a computer. You can't get information. You can't speak to people. Some people are very guarded with the information that they provide you because they don't feel your vibe on the TV, or through the internet when you're giving them interviews. But they feel your vibe. They feel your feelings. They feel who you are when you're standing in front of them. And so anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and share this screen real quick with you guys. So the Rogersville Review is saying that, I'm going to give it just a second to pull it up. So police returned to Beach Creek for another summer well search. So this is today. So Monday morning, Hawkins County Sheriff Office and Tennessee Bureau of Investigations returned to Beach Creek community in Hawkins County to launch a third search for missing summer wells. Wells was 5 years old when she was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road. Her disappearance prompted 13 days of intense searching for by more than 1,000 rescuers who covered 4.6 square miles surrounding her home, followed by months of investigation by the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and TBI and FBI. Investigators, sorry, I hit something here. I'm going to go back. Investigators and rescuers returned to Beach Creek at the end of November. We remember that because I think I ran that live here in attempt because I was very frustrated, that they waited until the grass. I mean, at this point, I think everybody should have equipment in their cities and counties to take care of high grass when you're looking and searching for, missing children. So 26 on the scanner in the area. Okay, thank you, Jackie. Thank you. Buddy, do you know if the police have checked that cemetery? Georgia, I do not know if they've checked the cemetery. I can tell you that there were two cemeteries that our team went to. There were some weird stuff at both of them. I have to be honest. There was some weird stuff at both of them. But the one in front of his mother's grave with that ring, that landscape timber around it, the ground was super, super hard. So that tells me that ground wasn't really broke up. And the reason why I say that is because if it was broke up and not hard, then you would have possibility of disturbance further down. So that was the only thing. Yeah. So we were at both. Did you get my sunshine? I haven't even checked my emails. This all came to me by text. So I will check it. I will check it. Give me just a few and I'll check it. So let's see here. Investigators and rescuers returned back in November to attempt a late autumn search in hopes of reducing foliage in the thicket. I think the thickened. I don't know what that means. Help them uncover a clue. TBI spokesperson Leslie Earhart responded Monday morning that Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and TBI continue to investigate the circumstances that led to the disappearance of Summer Wells. On Monday, teams were in the Beach Creek community as part of a planned search. So it sounds like they have already planned this search. This is the first time we're all hearing about it. Teams will be focusing on previously identified areas of interest, Earnhardt says. So it sounds like that they, and this is my problem, guys. Okay. Here is the quick and dirty of all this. And this is what I said from the beginning and why I've gotten so much backlash is every time we went out there and every time we interviewed people, every time we spoke with anybody, every time we tried to look into a different direction, we were always pulled back to their home. We were always pulled back to that mountain. We were always pulled back to them. You don't hear TBI, FBI, and Hawkins County searching any other area, folks. Do you understand that? Let me repeat that again. You don't hear of Hawkins County, TBI, or the FBI going anywhere but their home and in and around their home. Do you guys not catch and they've already came out multiple times and said there's no evidence of an abduction. And I know people want to read more into that than they should. But at the end of the day, they keep coming back to that same area. Get it? Are people starting to connect the dots here? Because I have stood here and have told people my opinions based off the information. This is information that we collected while we were out there. And much of that information we've never even released to you because we handed it over to law enforcement. And I know you and I bounce back and forth about this, but we have to agree to disagree on that. I just don't. I'd love to believe it. I'd love to believe that she's out there. Not that what could be happening to her, but I'd love to believe that she's still alive and well, as well as she can be. I'd love nothing more than to believe that. But for me, that is a stretch from what what I've been able to, the information I've been able to ascertain, and the pieces that I was able to put together by information that I've received. And it just doesn't seem like that is the case. Was there some funny business going on? Possibly. We had all these weird people and drug addicts and people that should not be moving in with the Wells and living with their young children, moving in with the Wells and living with their young children. And these are people of all walks of life that have major problems, alcohol and drug addicted problems, that were living and staying with the Wells. And it was almost like you almost visualize a trap house type of scenario, So it just, again, you know what? See, the problem is, White Rabbit, that's what you keep trying to convince yourself. You keep trying to convince yourself. For those who don't see this, this is what after we're coming up on 9 months, right? We're coming up on 9 months. After 9 months, you have enough information to be searching someplace else. If she truly wasn't in that area, you have enough information to now start searching elsewhere. So that is your opinion. Just like my opinion is, I'm following what these law enforcement officers are doing. And if you follow true crime cases, trust me, they don't just stick around the place that they were last seen. They don't just keep searching around the place that they were last seen. They move on and upward. They get persons of interest, and they go turn their properties and their areas upside down. Okay, geez, Louise is right. I don't know when you're going to get it, but maybe you won't. Maybe it's going to take them finding her and cuffing the perpetrators, probably ones that you've been helping financially support. For all I know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just making a leap there, and I apologize about that. Probably not nice. But Okay, well, White Rabbit can be a friend of Candace, then that's perfectly fine. It doesn't make sense. At this point, this stage in the game, law enforcement, and I said that, and I remember saying that in much earlier posts. Actually, I've said it multiple times. It was in videos. Every time we go out, and we went out there and searched. Now, mind you, we had 2 trips out there, one for a fact-finding trip and another one for more of a protest approach type trip, where we protested the TBI, this DCS. We coordinated with law enforcement and did multiple different assemblies and organizations. So we did it the right way. At any rate, you got to understand, one of the things I kept saying is no matter where we went, who we spoke to, what information we got, we kept going back to the same area. And guess what? We kept going right back to the Wells home. We kept going right back to the Wells home. And people are allowed to believe whatever they want to believe. I really don't care at this point. The people that don't like me won't like me at this point. I really don't care. The ones that come here want information, and want information from a reliable source. We put all of our stuff out there. When we go on these trips, we put all the videos together and get those out there as much as we can. Like I said, there are some things that we haven't showed people about the trips. Again, some of the information that we received in the interviews we did have not all been released. So the bottom line is law enforcement has said multiple times that there's no evidence of an abduction. The Candace believers are going to believe whatever they want to believe. They're going to keep believing it, no matter what law enforcement tells them. Law enforcement can say there is none, which is basically what they say, but they still don't get it. And they won't. So, and now every time law enforcement goes out for a search, they search around that home. It's not around another home. It's not in another area. It's always in and around that one property. They believe that she must be there. They believe she must be there. That's what I've got. That's what I can ascertain by common sense. By reading this is they keep going back to that property. And I will have to find that video, but I did a video where I was sitting out in front of there, and I remember it very vividly because Benny Keys was up there and we had just heard him laugh. At first we thought they were yelling, that there was a fight going on up there, but it wasn't. They must have just been talking very loud and you could hear the laugh. And I knew that laugh anywhere because I've heard it 1,000 times, right? And I remember saying that, it seems awfully funny that no matter where we go, we're always coming right back to this spot. We're always coming back to this home. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. Agree to disagree. But I can tell you that, after 9 months, if they truly believe Summer wasn't in and around that property, they would have been looking someplace else by now. They would be tearing up somebody else's home. They would be taking search parties to some other place. Again, let me read this statement for you again, so you kind of get the click. Okay. Her disappearance prompted 13 days. Let me say this again. 13 days of intense searching by more than 1,000 rescuers who covered 4.6 square miles surrounding her home. That was the first search. Now, if you guys recall, not too many months back, maybe 2 months back, another little boy was walking his dog in Tennessee in a different county, and the dog came back and he didn't. Guess what? They had a huge, intense man search for that boy. And guess what they found? They found that boy, and they were able to send him home. Kids just don't disappear. They don't walk out in the wilderness and just disappear. When a child leaves, now again, 13 days, 1,000 rescuers, 4.6 miles. There is no way a child, even that little boy, wasn't 4.6 miles away from where he started. That would be creepy. That would be freaky. But she was thrown somewhere on the property. I think the dogs would have found. We think a lot. Okay, let me tell you about my experience. With all these canines and bird, animal stuff. Let me tell you about that. When we were searching for Brian Laundrie, guess what? He was only 1,500 yards from where he parked his Mustang. They say that a dog, a scent-specific dog, and a cadaver dog can smell a dead body up to 2 miles. 1,500 yards away from his vehicle. Not one dog hit, not one cadaver hit. You would think you would see the buzzards and the birds flying above his body. None of that. So what we hear and are taught as to be the truth is not always accurate. Is not always accurate, because I've been involved in cases like Brian Laundrie where they had the dogs. They had the scent specific as well as the cadaver dogs. No hits. 1,500 yards away, not even a mile, not even a quarter mile. 1,500 yards away, maybe close to a quarter mile. Give it that. No hits. No dog hits. None. And he was laying on top of the ground. None. Then you go over to Kathleen Moore. No bird activity, no animal activity, no dog. No dog found her, and she was only 2 houses down. 2 houses down. She was literally within feet of where the officers were investigating. No hits. So you want me to ask if she was thrown somewhere on the property? I think the dogs would have found her. Well, I can tell you, if law enforcement really believed there, they wouldn't be doing a third search today. They wouldn't be doing a third search today, White Rabbit. I mean, you can make your own determination that you want to, but at some point, some people are going to have to start pulling their heads out of the sand here, in my opinion. With all due respect. With all due respect. I do too. I have to be honest with you, White Rabbit. I want nothing more than Summer to come home safe. But here is the issue I have. First of all, out the gate, the very first interview Don Wells and Candace Wells gave to any news media outlet, they used Summer's name in the past tense. I loved her. Was. Summer was. Not is. From the very out the gate interview, they were already talking like she was gone. Then I personally have had multiple conversations with Don Wells. Multiple. And not only did he use past tense, he also basically told me she's not coming home. I've aired that for you guys. I actually put both of those interviews up on my channel. I don't know if I think I might have ran them with live, so you might have a little bit of a problem finding them. One I know it'll be easy to find. One of them will be easy to find. So, yes, 1,500 yards, 3 feet in a yard. So yeah, 3,500 feet. So it was, again, dogs are supposed to be able to scent this stuff up to 2 miles. And as many of you know, they did have dogs in that area. And again, Brian Laundrie was literally 1,500 yards, and we tracked it. We literally got a rolling measurement and went both ways. We went both ways to where he was. And it was both ways, about 1,500 yards from where his Mustang was parked to where his body was found. And so if you had multiple dogs out there, cadaver dogs and specific dogs, and they didn't pick up on a body 1,500 yards away, it really does call into question, these dogs. I think, again, people, just like law enforcement, people don't like to acknowledge law enforcement makes mistakes. So do dogs. And it does come down to their trainer and how they've been, trained. And not only that, they're still animals. They make mistakes. They're not there's a lot of things that go in with it. A lot of things. Are they effective? Yes, they're effective. They go through rigorous training. It doesn't mean that they're always right. So no. And then not only that, but even the second time, 6 months later, I found out this. Now I don't know, because of the air and stuff in, the weather and stuff in Tennessee, how it would be, but I can tell you here, and this is just a trigger warning for all of you out there, is that, decomposition happens very, very fast in hotter weather. We had 98-degree weather. We had water, which people say water will preserve a body. He would only have been in maybe a foot and a half of water if he was there, but he decomposed very quickly. I thought it would be months. And then I started researching it. And if the elements are right, a body can fully decompose in 9 days. A lot of people did not know that. I personally did not know that. So when you get, animals or dogs out there, sometimes that stuff is already soaked into the ground and there's nothing there. There's nothing, that it's faint odor. It's no longer that pungent smell. So, do we know everything? Of course not. Again, this is just breaking, as I'm finding it out, that truly, in fact, they are doing another search around that home. And that is shooting up a lot of red flags and a lot of alarm bells in my head, because who would go out there if they've exhausted searches in the area? Why would they be out there again? And this tells me one of two things, just for me, and let me know if I'm making sense to you. Because they covered such a wide area around the house, she would not be on top of the property. She would not be on top of the land. So if she's not on top of the land and under the land, then that tells you another aspect of that. So I'm waiting to hear what they find, if it come up a dud or not. But with, just gives me that weird feeling that we have Dawn in jail. We've got Candace online saying that she no longer loves her husband anymore. And then just a few short days after that being aired, we've got people back out to the Beach Creek area. It just gives you, I don't know. I just got all these mixed emotions and feelings going off, inside my brain, inside my belly, inside my heart. Is something breaking here? We also heard that, Hunter's parents are saying that he needs to just, purge whatever has been going on with him, because he hasn't really been the same. So it just really, really makes you wonder what is going on here and who knows what. But I just find it odd that they're going back yet to this house 9 months later. If they really, truly didn't believe the Wells had anything to do with this child, they would be in a different area looking. Why do they keep coming back to this property? Oh, they have and Queen Bish is saying that they have the dogs out there as well. The dogs are out there well. It is possible, right? The real possibility of her walking off. But again, it comes back to that story with that little boy. How far can a child travel? They had for 13 solid days over 1,000 people out there. So we have to assume that if she was out there during that time, they would have found her like they did the other little boy. A lot of people, I think, misconception is that Summer never went off her property before. I'm sure she did. Her mother was not a mother that monitored her children that well. I mean, we have reports from law enforcement going into her home and her being completely passed out drunk while her children are running around. So the idea that Summers never left the property or never walked the property, they got a huge property there, right? and came home. That child's probably been all over that property. She was probably the most mature 5-year-old child you have ever met. And I just don't see a child being abducted from a stranger without kicking and screaming when they're off their property and going down the side of a mountain. I mean, this stuff is steep. I mean, it's not a nice, pretty walk path that you can just take a child in arm and just run with her like a football. You just can't. And I can't describe it other than that. The terrain out there is pretty bad. So again, if she had just wandered off with all the work that's been done with law enforcement, they would have found her by now in whatever condition she was in. So again, it's telling me that they are not looking for her on top, which calls into question who would have put her underneath. I could be wrong. Again, I've been wrong before. But them going back out to the same property and the same spots is telling me that the evidence keeps leading them back to that house and that property. That's what's going on here. It keeps bringing them back to this. So let's just keep going. They said this in the report, that this is a planned search. But my thing is why today, and why has nobody known about it until today? Planned searches usually mean planned searches. People are on notice. This is in the Rogersville Review today. This wasn't covered by WJHL. WJHL, if this was a planned search, would have been all over it. It hasn't even been published in the WJHL, the larger publication. This is in the local Rogersville Review, a much smaller publication. So it sounds to me like nobody knew about this, except the people in that area. So it's just, I hear you. I hear you, Annie. But what they're saying and the actions being conducted here don't sound like it was planned. Just saying. So we're hearing it is a ground search. They're on foot searching. Yeah. And I got to tell you, that's the best kind of search anyways. With that vast land and the bushes and there in some places is just very dense. Having a helicopter go over that, we learned this with Brian Laundrie, is in that dense foliage, you can't see squat in the air. You can't see squat. And infrared radar and sonar and stuff is only good, from that high elevation with a living person where you can see the heat. It doesn't work for somebody that's cold or mixed in with, the same temperature as the surroundings. So, the foot aspect is probably better, but I just find it odd. And, and it might just be my conspiracy theorist area kicking in or something, but I just find it odd that these things are happening in so close a proximity to other things that are happening. So it's just, we want her home safe. I mean, don't get me wrong. We want Summer home safe. We want this case over. And we want the people that have harmed her in any way to come to justice. At the end of the day, that is what we are all fighting for. Even the people, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I've spoke to Benny. Benny wants to find Summer. So I don't agree with how he aligned himself and everything like that. Him and I have to agree to disagree on that. But I can guarantee you that Benny truly wants to know what happened to Summer. And Benny wants to know where, what happened. And I can guarantee if he finds out that that Candace or Don had anything to do with it, I mean, I'm sure he would distance himself like that from them. So, and I'm not, you guys know how I feel about that man. So it's not like, for those people that say I'm dishonest, I am not a dishonest person. That's where I'm going. I don't, it was funny because I was in the, I like crimes, lies, and what CLL, with Brooks and Frank. And I really like that show. I hope his name's Frank. I can't remember. I watch a lot of stuff. And it was kind of funny because they were just having this conversation, and of course the whole entire chat was lit up today. And this is before I knew that this was even going on, but the whole chat was lit up talking about, who's going to spill the beans first. Is it, Dawn? Is it going to be Candace, with Candace's new channel and all this other stuff? And it makes me wonder, and they're like, well, at this point, if he says anything, he's going to look vindictive. And I'm thinking, how many times have vindictiveness, solved cases? They've solved cases a lot. Vindictive people getting back and going and spilling the beans on what happened. That happens a lot. It really does. And, a lot of cases are solved because of vindictive people, so it's possible and probable, but did it happen? We would never know. It's only speculation. It's only my opinion, I don't even have an opinion on that. I don't have any information to formulate an opinion. It's just pure speculation. It very well could be. He very well could. He could have you don't know what tactics are being used in there. What if they're running Candace's videos for him? And him listening to her talk, but I'm just saying it's a little odd. It's a little odd that they keep coming back to this property over and over and over again. In my opinion, that tells me that they think she's on that property somewhere. That's the only inference I can, an opinion I can formulate for them, that being the only property they're searching. After 9 months, if they thought she was anywhere else, they'd be searching other properties, folks. They surely would. And they're not. That's a telltale sign in and of itself. In and of itself. No, if you watch my channel, you know exactly what I think. I don't think it's someone. I think her parents are responsible. That's what I think. Do I know specifically the what happened? No, but I do know the statistics. I do know the statistics. And so I'm trusting the statistics. I'm trusting the information that we were able to gather while we were there, the interviews we were able to have while we were there. And it sounded like something happened in the custody of Candace while she was in her custody. I do believe that Dawn had a hand in it. I don't know if it was an after-fact accessory. I never said that she killed her daughter, but she's responsible. And there's a difference because children die of negligence all the time. And I do believe that is, sorry, but that's my opinion. She was the last person to see her daughter. I truly believe that scream that Jody Sue heard was not Summer, but was Candace when she realized Summer was no longer breathing. We have that weird photo of her where she's got purple cuticles. Her hands are slightly swollen. She's laying on milk. Everybody was focused on the spot on the seatbelt and on her jacket. I was not. The more important thing that I was told needed to be focused on was those hands. And I've said it from the very, very beginning, those hands. If anybody's watched me from the very beginning, the very first time we ever laid eyes on that photo, I said she looked dead. That was just my opinion. Come to find out, she may not have been. She may have been in the process. But it was the cuticles. The cuticles basically are saying, and the swelling of the hands are basically saying she has no oxygen. That's what that means. Her heart's pumping, but not pumping to the lower extremities. So, I don't know. It's a good question. All these things are kind of hitting, and they may, they may be running this thing in the Rogersville Review so it doesn't spark up any red flags for the people that might be responsible for something that happened to Summer, right? You're not going to go out there and say, oh, this was an unplanned search, you're going to say, oh, no, we've planned it for a while. It's no big deal, because you don't want people getting all up in arms. But I'm telling you, with Rogersville Review, the smallest newspaper, is the only one running with this story right now, means that somebody has reached out to them in and around the community, must have seen the officers out there, and they called the sheriff, and the sheriff said, oh, no, it's a planned thing, HLR, whatever that other one is. WJHL still hasn't ran with the story, even talking about it. They would have been the bigger ones saying, oh, there was a planned search, they're going to be out there like they did in November, right? That was a planned search in November. And guess what? They had that story out before they went searching. That story in November came out, if I'm not mistaken, a day before the investigators went out there and searched. It didn't come the day of as they're searching, which, again, another telltale sign that we need to look at. I hope they find her too, Common Sense. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the name of the game. We want her found. We want her found. And I think that's what everybody wants. And I just wish people would understand we do have a common goal, and that's justice for Summer and to find her. And that's the hardest part to all this. But I can tell you it's awfully odd that they keep going back to the same property. Just pointing that out. Yeah, they just so again, Annie. Let's play, the dot game, right? Why are they just now posting a planned search? If it was planned, it would have been posted like they did in November. So that doesn't make sense. Oh yes, the whole Ukraine scenario and tragedy that's going on. That is very disturbing. I have to say, the Ukraine situation is very concerning and disturbing, not just to me, but to allies all over the world. So, please watch that, Salsa. Please keep us up to date on that, because, that is definitely something that we all need to be very, very, very concerned with. Yes, thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. So there is something I wouldn't be coming on here live just to be chatting about, because I have a lot of stuff I could be going off on this family about right now. And I haven't been, I've been just watching and monitoring and, just looking at everything that's transpiring, but I just find it odd. So it sounds like, Annabelle, it's Hawkins County Sheriff and TBI. FBI may even be on ground there, because let me just reread this. No, it says Monday morning that Hawkins County Sheriff's Office and TBI continue to investigate. So it sounds like they may be the ones in the area, but it very well could be the FBI. We know the FBI is involved in this case because it being a child. But again, yes, the dogs are out there so hard, looking so hard. Okay, so we've confirmed that there are dogs out there as well. They always do. Yes, that is true. But when they really do, we hear reports before they actually show up for the search. Again, we have to go back to November and realize that we knew of that search going like 24 hours before the search began. So when it's planned, they let you know it's planned. This one, it's just odd that it's coming from a small newspaper in the area. The day that they're searching, usually you have a press conference or a press release before you actually start the ground search. This appears to come after it. So I just want to bring that to everybody's attention as well. Yeah. I've always said that I thought she would be closer than people think, because, when just our past experience, where let's just look at it, the past experience that we have is Gabby Petito. She was just, 1,000 feet from where the van was parked last. Brian Laundrie, he was within 1,500 feet of where his car was parked last. We have, see here, Kathleen Moore. She was within 2 houses of where she was last seen at. And it just seems like that's kind of the standard protocol for people that don't know what to do. I mean, people are not trained for murdering somebody. People don't know, especially if it's the first time, they don't know what to do with it. I mean, even look at the case that I'm following that's already been solved with Todd Colehep, right? He was found to have multiple dead people on his property, buried in shallow graves on his property. So again, that's why I keep saying, a lot of people don't realize it, but typically they're closer than you may think. You might look a little closer than they may think. Yeah, I heard that. I've been hearing that's the bad thing about the whole YouTube thing for Candace. People know we see her when she's sober, we see her when she's drunk, and she just needs to stay off. It's not helping her. It really isn't. It really isn't. So there are some. Let's go look over here. Thank you for keeping me up to date. Let's see. So let's just see here. All right, so let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys to see. So 46 minutes ago today, TBI agents in Hawkins County's deputies are back at Beach Creek. But you see this, like, it's not coming out until after the fact. It's almost like they're doing this whole thing backwards, right? Usually they typically have, tell us that they're going to go back out there and do a search, which did not happen here. Then a small newspaper got the story out first. Now TBI is now behind them saying, now, mind you, I went on here and checked TBI's Twitter account before checking into the allegation that they're out there searching. And there was nothing posted whatsoever on TBI site. So now we have this. I mean, look, this is the first thing. Look at all this stuff that they were posting prior to. Nothing about Summer Wells whatsoever. Nothing, right? Nothing about a search, nothing about anything. And then all of a sudden, somebody catches wind of this search, posted in a newspaper. It's already starting to go around social media. And then boom, 47 minutes ago, now we hear of this purported scheduled search of the area. So again, this is not how they typically, from the past, this is not how they've typically handled the searches and stuff in the past. So it just gives me, like I said, it could very well have been a planned search, but it just doesn't have all the hallmarks of it being a planned search. I just wanted to point that out to you guys. So it says TBI today. Today, TBI agents and Hawkins County deputies are back in the Beach Creek area as part of a planned search for 6-year-old Summer Wells. Teams have been focusing on previously identified areas of interest. And again, I just find it's suspect that they're just now coming out to tell the public they had a planned search. That wasn't how they handled anything previously. So, and it was the smaller newspaper that appeared to have caught wind of it first, because they were the ones that ran with it first. Usually it's the larger news organizations that run with information that's planned previously. Yeah, there was a lot of floods in the area. I can tell you that being true because even on Cam and Allie's Cracking Cases, they did play a video of what it was in that area. So it's possible. Maybe they're hopeful that some of that flood water may have moved her, because it's pretty extensive flooding. And the movement of that water is quite quick. It was a little scary. It's something that would swoop you away quickly. So there was a lot of flooding there. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Ill mill. So let's just keep moving. Um, yeah, they do. Yep. They definitely need to be searching. We want to advocate for continued searching. And I'm also a little curious as to why there's so much time in between searches. Does anybody notice that too? Like it's months and months between searches. So I don't know if that means anything or not, but it just seems like they keep investigating, and their investigation keeps them going back to the same area, and that's just to me, that's problematic. That's problematic for me. It's problematic for me. Yes and no, not necessarily in my opinion, because I lived out in the country and my parents kept a close eye on me. When we were out at my grandfather's house, we had an acre, acres of land that we could run on, and my mom was at my rear end. She was a hover mom. They knew exactly where we were. We didn't leave or go anywhere without them, and I was a young child during that time. So, I was about Summerwell's age or a little younger. So do they let them go out and play? Of course. I mean, we were having a conversation about this over dinner with Olivia last night. And it was like, we didn't have all these games and social media. It's like, when our parents wanted us, when we were driving them up a wall, they kicked us out of the house, go play in the front yard. But they kept an eye on us. They knew when we were, one, up to shenanigans, and two, not around the property. And believe me, you could hear my mom's yell or whistle a mile away. So it's like you brought your butt home. So yes and no. I agree and disagree all the same. Yeah, we just posted it. I feel like it's in and around the house. Yeah, there's something going on there. Oh, I accidentally hit you, Georgia, or Florida girl. I'll get back to you, White Rabbit. And there go into their house and down the stairs. Man, that was kind of creepy when we saw that on Chris McDonough. That it looked unsavory. You guys remember that first video with Chris McDonough? And the crawl space to get down to that basement was covered by like a island. You didn't even know it was there. And then you got to squeeze yourself into that and walk down the stairs. And it was almost like a dungeon down there. I'm sorry, it just creeped me out. It creeped me out. I have to be honest. Where the children lived and were staying creeped me out. Yeah, I have to believe White Rabbit. You're entitled to your own opinion, but there's just something not right. If you watch not just this investigation, other investigations, 9 months later, they're not still focused on one area if they don't believe she's in that area. It just doesn't happen. It really doesn't. So it's telling me that they believe that baby's around there somewhere. They believe that baby's around there somewhere. And so that gives me all kinds of mixed feelings. Mixed feelings. I assume that things happen because of Hunter's statement down at the water hole, the second dry drowning. I know somebody like Michelle After Dark wants to put that theory to bed. And just because it doesn't happen often doesn't mean it didn't happen. So I know that something major happened that day that traumatized not only Hunter, but Candace. So the only place I can determine that those things that they were at was that water hole. But by his mom's own account, Hunter was never the same again. Even by Andrew's account, with the statement that came out on Crime Stories Obsessed, he's saying that he's doing a lot better now. It finally seems like he's becoming himself again and stuff like that. So I'm really hopeful that, he starts sharing what he knows, the truth, what he knows soon. So exactly, Annie, that's my point. But if you go by past behavior with TBI, especially on these searches, these planned searches, they let people know 24 hours that they're going to be back out there. They didn't do that this time. And they didn't even make any posts on their Twitter handle until after an article came out on the Rogersville Review. That's kind of leaning toward that this wasn't planned. Just saying. You got to look at past behavior. And past behavior, TBI has informed the public, especially on these searches that are la-di-da. They're just out there doing some due diligence. No big deal. This is a little odd. I'm just saying. Does it mean anything? Maybe, maybe not. I just find it personally odd. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be going back out there for a little minute. We're probably not going to go out there for a little minute. I'm not sure if and when we will go out there, but I'll keep you notified. Yeah. From my understanding, is the neighbor on Ben Hill Road does have recorders. So the one on the corner, as you turn off of Beach Creek and onto Ben Hill Road, there's one house right there on the corner, because the other house is up the mountain, which is the Wells. So you have up the mountain over the creek and up the Wells property, and you have this house down here, which is lower and a single home on the ground. They definitely have cameras. So I'm curious as to what they found off their cameras. It's possible. It's possible. I haven't heard them say that yet. I mean, I read everything that comes out of TBI. So that's just an assumption made. Usually they tell us what we want to hear in delicate ways. Yes, I have. I was actually, if you're talking about Ernie Shell with Rescue Our Children, I was actually, the first time I saw his show was just this last week, No. See, that's the problem. If they've been there, done that, they're not going to go there and do that again. Once, twice, maybe, but a third time, the same area, it's all in and around that property. At some point, people have to try to figure out, why is it just that property? It's been 9 months, and if they truly believed she was somewhere else, they would not be there. You understand that? I mean, I'm hoping that you're kind of connecting the dots here. They're telling us that they don't believe that it's foul play. There's no evidence of foul play. At 9 months into an investigation, you would know if there's evidence of foul play. There's none. The next thing they said, or not foul play, but abduction. Next thing they said was foul play, right? So there's no possibility of an abduction, but they're looking into it as foul play. And the real possibility she may have walked off. You've got to understand how law enforcement speak. That told me a lot, because I understand how law enforcement speaks. Again, that's why I'm bringing your attention that, the November search was broadcasted well in advance. This one was not. And even TBI, TBI posted before that search too. And now TBI is coming out after a news article come out saying, oh, by the way, this was a planned search. It just doesn't, I don't know. Something just doesn't sit right with me on this one. It just doesn't. And again, I could be reading more into it than I should, but I'm just telling you, my gut's telling me something's not sitting right with me on this. So you can't tell between a cadaver dog, a scent-specific dog, or any other type of dog, a canine. To be honest with you, you can't tell the difference, because they use primarily the same similar dogs. They're just trained a lot different on how they find stuff. So we'll see. I think everybody just needs to pray that we find answers. It's getting to that point where we need to find answers. We need to bring Summer home. I mean, she's been missing for quite some time. They finally have her father in jail and her mom acting like a fool on YouTube. So, we just need to put an end to this. They have not been cleared. Neither one of her parents have not been cleared. In typical children investigations, the parents are cleared first. They tear their lives upside down, inside out. They're cleared first, right? So why is it in this case, these parents haven't been cleared yet after 9 months? I mean, I'd like to get to people's thoughts on why they feel these parents haven't been cleared when so many, this is not the first child abduction in this country, right? There's been many of them. And many of them had their parents cleared up front. So why are we 9 months in and the parents haven't been cleared? Other people have been cleared, but the parents have not. It's a little concerning. A little concerning. I do too. I keep coming back to that. There's professionals, better professionals than me that are saying, maybe that's the probability of that happening are very low because it's so uncommon, but we deal with uncommon things all the time. It is. It is. And not only that, but if you've been out there or living in and around the area, if you go and see where their house, I mean, it's pretty rough. I mean, I can't visualize how this would be done. And the one thing that brings me back to this whole abduction, where was the car parked? Like, you can't abduct a child and walk her down a dangerous road. There's no place to park. If you guys go back and look at my videos, there's literally no median on either side of that road to park a car. So where would that vehicle had to have been parked in order to abduct a child? There's no place. And then you've got to try to climb all the way down a steep mountain to get back to that vehicle. That child would have fallen out of his hand, would have fallen. I mean, it just, until you see it with your own eyes, I'm telling you, it's hard to describe the angle of that mountain. The only way that child would have been able to be abducted, in my opinion, is up and down that driveway. That's it. Not down a dog trail. Because that's the only place, one, that you can park a car. And two, that's the path of least resistance, because that's the one that is graded down. I mean, it's still steep on that driveway, but that's the one that's graded down a lot easier. Some of this stuff is almost a 90-degree angle off the side of that mountain. 90 degrees. How are you holding a child and trying to hang on for dear life as you go down a 90-degree angle? I mean, it just, I'm telling you, it just doesn't make sense. Possible. It's possible. I'm pretty sure if they found her, because they found another, more remains, and it was, everybody knew about it, and they were trying to say it was Summer when it wasn't. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to give you too much grief, but like I said, so let's see what we got. And somebody's got somebody using my name, which is, and trying to impersonate me on my own chat, is saying that Candace has more subs than me. Like, first of all, I don't really care about subs. It's about the messaging for those, people that have nothing better to do with their time. Secondly, I don't know why we're talking about Summer and you've got to try to bring it back to your petty BS. It's petty. You understand that, right? Like, what kind of freak are you? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Let's just see something here. So we've got that going on. Don Wells is obviously in jail. And he's disgusting. He doesn't. No, he doesn't. I don't know what's going on with that, but at any rate, it is what it is. It's odd they're coming out. The timing is weird, but until now, we don't know. Okay. No, I don't. I think he's just as much out of the loop as the rest of us, to be honest with you. Some people are saying that. It's possible, he interject himself right into their life, and I find that a little suspect and odd. Crimes, lines, and lies. Yes, thank you. That's Brooks. Yeah, that's the one. And she was having a great conversation. If you guys have not seen her live today from this morning, I definitely think you should. It is pretty good. It is pretty good. I like it. So, oh, come on. Thing drives me nuts. My freaking, let me get over here and turn this off, because clearly my freaking computer can't think. And give me just a second. You know what? I wish they would too. But the reason why I keep thinking that she's not is because of the conversations I had with Don himself. The conversations I had with Don. Some of those have been released on my channel. Some of those have not. But some of the conversations that we had and some of the things that he said don't add up. And he's always said, because even when he was talking about North Korea and the atrocities in North Korea, I said, Don, I'm not here for North Korea. I'm here to reunite you with your daughter. That's why I'm here in Rogersville, to help search for your daughter. And he goes on to tell me that, there's basically no hope for his daughter. His daughter's gone. And it's like, this is coming from somebody that should be hopeful. What does he know? He knows something. How can you make a statement like that? I don't know. Let's see. Very odd indeed. Very odd indeed. She's somewhere on that property. They think it is. And I said that from the beginning. You keep circling right back. You keep circling right back to that property. You keep circling right back. No matter where the leads take you, they take you right back. They take you right back to that property. And everybody's allowed to have their opinion. But, what makes you think that? Because in order for you to make a determination, in my opinion, is to go out there and collect facts and to look at the property and look at the surroundings and talk to the people in and around. You can't go off secondhand or thirdhand information. I thought from inside of me, to be honest with you, I thought she killed her, like beat the crap out of her until she didn't breathe. My thought on what happened has changed since I went out there, since I visited, since I asked questions, since I met with people that were in and around Don and Candace Wells. Now, mind you, Carla, I also spoke with Don multiple times. Multiple. So, and his stuff is pretty jaw-dropping. And you guys have only seen a few of them, and you guys' jaws were dropped. So, we always try to believe in the best of people, but I'm sorry. I just don't. Not after everything I've heard and saw. Is that the same shed that Marissa went into? Because we got photos of the inside of that shed, and it just looked dirty. You couldn't really see anything out of place. But the one thing I think I do recall that might have been different, was the stove in there. You know, they had a some of the older pictures had a, like an antique stove in there, and then if I recall correctly, the pictures that Marissa had showed a different one, maybe either bigger or smaller. I can't remember because it was so long ago. It was so long ago, and I think that was on our first trip back in December, and I only seen it like one time, but I think the only thing that I saw that was different was like there was a step, a concrete step, and on that step was like this. I want to say a furnace or a like an old antique style chimney with the the little flute thing that goes up and through the wall. But if I recall correctly, that was the only thing from previous photos that I saw that appeared to be different. And I want to call it a stove, but I don't think, and it's not like a stove that you guys are thinking of, like in the kitchen. It was more antique type thing. I don't know how to describe it, but that was the only thing I thought that might have been different than what previous pictures had. I don't know if that means anything. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that that video was taken down. I don't know one way or another. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Might be some place to look. Honestly, I think that's wishful thinking. I really do, Sandra. You know, we always try to convince ourselves that things aren't really what they are. And I think that's what a lot of people are dealing with right now is that they're wanting to think she was in sex trafficking. They want to think that somebody came and took her out of that horrible house. Why would they just take her? Why wouldn't they take all of them? That's not fair to those boys. That doesn't, unfortunately, that doesn't make sense to me because nobody's just going to go in there and snatch a girl to take care of a girl and put her in a nice place and a safe house without taking the boys too. I mean, Josie was getting smacked in the head and punched in the face by his father. So why wouldn't they take Josie? His father was actually smoking marijuana with him on multiple occasions. So, you know, we try to convince ourselves that these wonderful things have happened. And I just, I can't, I can't, I can't. It's possible, Michelle. It's possible. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. I'm just telling you that their past planned searches were conducted in different ways, at least social media and media wise. This was kind of spur of the moment, a surprise to everybody. Nobody knew anything about it. And in their previous ones, they didn't have people coming out there in the droves to help them search or anything like that. So that wouldn't have been the reason why they would have kept this one so hush hush. You know, so it just seems to me that they didn't have this plan. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just curious why they didn't follow the same protocols they followed in the past for planned searches. This just didn't sit right with me. There's something about this, and the fact that I had to search for it. Like usually when they have searches, I can just go on there and say, you know, Hawkins County searching for Summer Wells, right? And all these different posts start popping up of this. That didn't happen. Like I really had to hunt to even validate this information. And then now it's like, okay, now it's being validated. Now it's being talked about on social media. Now TBI comes out with a statement. It seems pretty odd to me. It just seems pretty odd. So, and I do believe law enforcement, without a doubt, is without a doubt watching them. Nope, that's not what she said. That's not what she said. I think you need to go back and listen to and read. There was a lot of inconsistencies even in Jody Sue's earlier statements. What she said is she heard a yell. I can't remember if it was 3:45 or 4:45, and Candace is the one that said she was full of, shit. So no, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's accurate. Well, we were kind of thinking it was going to be coming sooner or later, but and not only that, but the thing with what Don said previously, remember Don said previously that he had 7 alibis and she had none. What did he say that there was something else that came after that? He had celibacy. Oh, she's going down. He had 7 alibis. She had none. She's going down. That's what was said. Yeah, I do too. And the fact that they're coming out with a statement after it was already put in the newspaper. They didn't, usually it's just the opposite. They post stuff on Twitter, the newspapers take the stuff off Twitter and write the story about it. This is just the opposite. This didn't follow the standard protocols for past plan searches, I can tell you that. I disagree with that too, because that photo and the video was sent to several doctors, a few EMTs, and a couple nurses. And unless you are a medical professional and can tell me that, I'm going to believe the medical professionals. So I apologize about that. I'm not trying to be rude, but I had medical professionals I trust look at that, and they brought me back to the hands of the cuticles each and every time, and they all said the same thing. And I didn't tell them what the other one said. I just sent them the photos and ask them, what do they think about this? Tell me what they can. And it was surprising. All of them said the same thing. All of them. You would think that, but if you guys remember, we just did a Todd Colehep. And, you got to remember, these people have been on alcohol and drugs. And even Todd Colehep, as clear minded as that man was, couldn't tell specifically which road he was on. He could only describe it. So trying to describe something to somebody else, but in all fairness, I do believe that if they couldn't find any information related to her, or Don was the one that was directing them, I believe they because of the close proximity to the jail, that they would actually be pulling him out of the jail and having him come out there and show them. So, again, did they just get some information from somebody, maybe a viable lead that didn't come from Don? It's possible. But there's something that just isn't sitting right with me about this planned search. That's all. Well, Beer Can Island, it's kind of funny because I think I know who you are, and I think you were a past political candidate, and I can't wait to write a article on you about what you do as a failed political candidate. So why don't you move on and leave me alone before you get put on blast? Can the trolls just lay off of one? No, they won't. They won't. It's about them. It's about them. It's all about them. It's all about them. So, my thing is, how am I making money? Candace is making more money than I ever make. And she's responsible, in my opinion, for this child missing. Okay. I make money off AdSense. And trust me, my bank account's not getting big and fat. I can tell you that. They know where she has been. Go listen to what Dave Rader has said. If you listen closely to what he says, I think they moved her and they found evidence. You know what? We kept hearing a lot about that from a different people, different sources. Even the psychics out there on YouTube have said this, that they believe that she has been moved not just once but multiple times, and that is plausible. Because one thing that we did learn from Dudley is that Don, when he's high, he'll be up all night. And he's usually at these drywall properties doing drywall and cutting stuff in on these drywall jobs from midnight until he shows up 6 hours and has almost everything done. So him moving around at night in the middle of the night while most people are sleeping is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. It is possible. Maybe they did find evidence. Because I like breaking information. When things happen, I come live. That's why we come live. If I'm going to be behind the 8 ball and wait for a report, what's the purpose? We speculate. We provide opinions. That's part of what every single true crime community does here on YouTube. And you never know. Somebody in and around the community may have more information that they tell us in the chat. It's not the first or the last time it would happen. We had people right down the street from Don Wells. When one night when we thought that there was cops there, they were able to drive by the house and say there's no cops there. So that's why we bring this out. Let's see what we got here. Okay. This is what's being said. Okay, why is this not going up for me? Lord have mercy. Let me try to do this different. I don't like doing it this way because I can't read them all. Okay, but Michelle said, God forgive me, but I don't want to be mean to Reverend Donna. I do feel what she saw a little on the dramatic side. Okay. Well, I mean, people are allowed to have their opinions. Okay. Jones says she not saying it in a bad way. Yeah. The helicopter video, when Dallas says CW, I think he means Candace Wells released is from the fire a past few weeks ago, is shown water spreading over the mountains. So apparently there was something. You know what? I have no idea. I really don't. I have no earthly idea. And that's what I think it boils down to. I really do. Okay, no, they usually state it afterwards or when questions come in. That's not necessarily true, Lilla. The last one that they did in November, we knew they were going out before they went out. They put a press release together. They posted it on the Twitter page. There was a lot of differences in that search and this one. Well, again, the planned search they did in November didn't stop them from broadcasting it. So why would it be different on this one unless they had new leads or new information? And again, going back to that property. And that's what I've been trying to explain. If they, after 9 months, have not left that property yet, that should be a good clue and indicator of what law enforcement's thinking and doing. Right? Great indicator on what law enforcement is thinking and doing if they still have not left that property yet. You guys get it? They should not have to get, this is Candace's, well, it could be, but they don't need warrants. Most of those people I can tell you that are in and around Beach Creek will allow law enforcement to come on their property without a warrant and search. They will sign away their rights for this baby. We've met a lot of the neighbors there. You can't go anywhere in this town or this county, or even in Sullivan County. Summer's face is plastered literally everywhere. And I was talking in Crimes, Lies, whatever Ronnie had. Lines and Lies. There it is. Crimes, Lines, and Lies. And, I was saying, people post all the time the whereabouts, because one of my thing is that, they were talking about whether Candace was going to get the boys back. And it's like, well, she's not doing anything right now that warrants her getting those boys back. I mean, she's going to have to take parenting classes. She's going to have to take anger management classes. She's visibly intoxicated on some of these lies. It's a major no-no if you're trying to get your children back. But that she hasn't left her house long enough to do any of these classes. And somebody said, well, how do you know? And it's like, because everybody there is reporting their moves in that area. And it's like, well, why are they doing it? Because nobody trusts them. And literally Summer's face is plastered everywhere there, everywhere. In the stores, in the restaurants, in the county buildings, in the city buildings. Everybody has, literally on electric poles. The people in and around the Wells property do not like them. They do not like them. They all think they had something to do with it. Now, is that just speculation? Yes, it is. But then you start bringing in eyewitness testimony. You start bringing in behavioral changes with Hunter. You start seeing all these other things that are crafting a much bigger picture here, not just speculation anymore, that something truly happened. Kids just don't just walk off. And law enforcement has said over and over again, they don't believe this abduction theory. It's at least two possibilities: foul play or her walking off. If she had just walked off, she should have been found by now, no matter what condition. She hasn't. It feels like something's been hidden, and now we don't know. Again, speculation. It's what we do. It's what we do. When I put my opinion down, I put my opinion. When I say speculation, I tell you guys how I feel. I tell you where I derive the information from, and tell you if it's fact or opinion. That's what I do. It's possible. It's possible. Well, then my question would be, so you had so let me get this straight, Lilia. You had 100-acre property and it was impossible to keep an eye on you guys, right? And you guys had run off on your horses for hours. or run the trails with friends. Your experience isn't everyone's experience, but you made it home. You didn't just disappear, right? I mean, you are here putting this in my chat right now. You made it back home. How many times did you get lost? How many times did search parties had to come out and see you on your 100-acre property? I mean, I'm curious. Yeah, and that has to do with the cold weather, Linda, because the trees, the leaves have fallen. A lot of the leaves have fallen off the trees. So, yeah. Hmm. Hey, you know what? It is possible. We did see the videos, like I said, on Cracking Cases. He showed the videos of water just spewing and stuff like that. But it would make me wonder, why are they still on that property and not further down? Because we saw the veracity of that water shooting out, and it was going, further down. So, I'm curious. Did somebody find something and maybe spark the attention? God knows. Yeah. There are a lot of people. Yeah. And I heard he was just voted back in. I don't personally know Robbie, but it has been implied by several people that her stuff is not in the house anymore. I do know for a fact that, and this is fact, is that the church in Robin Lane gave, auctioned off or gave away Summer's toys from the church. That I do know, which I found quite odd and disturbing. I'm curious to find out. I haven't watched that yet. So maybe Predators or Predator Nation. Go and watch that. Ronnie Girl says they did. Robbie. Ronnie Girl says they did. And I'm just curious, Lila, how do you know this? I'm just curious, how do you know this? I mean, you're sitting here saying that everything that we are representing in here is misinformation and untruths. How do you know? Are you in the Rogersville, Tennessee area? Did you go to their home? Who have you spoken to? I'm just curious. I really do want to know. Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. You should go and watch my other videos to find out what I think happened. And please don't go get it from somebody else. If you want to hear it for yourself, I would suggest you do your work to listen to it. Please. I'm very, very vocal about what I feel happened. I don't think it was Candace, but I do believe TBI is watching her very closely on her new lives. I think Department of Children and Family Services are as well. Where did you hear this? It sounds to me you're speculating here. Where did you hear this? Can you please post your source that said this? What article said this in it? Just because you think of it in your brain is not. Why would they tell us about their planned searches, right? Even with Brian Laundrie, they had no problem talking about these planned searches. Why now all of a sudden go covert, or, undercover, the covert operation, so to speak? I'm just curious. Like you say a lot in here, Lilla. I don't know who you are. I can guarantee Lilla Ann's probably not your real name, but you say a lot. But the stuff you're saying is not backed up by anything. Where did they say this? Or is that your opinion? And please, if it's your opinion, say it's your opinion. I get it. I can tell you all angles here lead right back to Don Wells and Candace Bly. That's what I can tell you. And I've said that from the beginning. And clearly, I'm not too far off base here if they keep going back to the same area, if they're not looking at any other area. Thank you. I think that at the end of the day, that's what we all want. Summer, justice for Summer. That really is. Yeah. So a lot of stuff going on. There's no doubt about that. You're pulling at straws. Go pull at straws somewhere else. I'm getting frustrated. Like you want to believe what you want to believe. That's fine, but this is not the channel. And trying to come here and change my mind is insane. It's like me trying to change your mind. It's like putting a hole in somebody's head. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. My mind is made up. You understand that, right, Lilla? My mind is made up about what happened. The people responsible in my mind have been made up. Unless new information comes out, the only people I'm looking at personally as being responsible for Summer's disappearance is Don Wells and Candace Bly. That's it. Okay? You want to hang on words? They said there's no possibility of an abduction. No possibility of an abduction. What was the next thing that they said with more force? Foul play. And then very gently said, and they are looking into the real possibility of her just wandering off. So that means they don't believe it was an abduction and they don't believe she just wandered off. You understand that, right? Like you do get that. And then you have to look at the other child in Tennessee that did actually go missing in the woods. And guess what? They found him in 24 hours. It didn't take them 9 months. Same people, same class of people looking for that little boy is looking for Summer. And guess what? They found him and brought him home. All right, I'm done talking to you. I'm going to put you in timeout. I don't want you talking on here. You're driving me nuts, like literally driving me nuts. Not that I don't value your opinion, but I just think you're way off base. And you're biased because you're thinking of every way to clear these horrible, despicable people. You realize that Candace let her children live in a house in filth. Just because you're poor doesn't mean you have to live in filth. She let those children live in garbage. Garbage. And they were accustomed to that. I have no pity for that woman. And the crazy thing is CPS was coming there soon to take those children out of that home. If they had only been there 1 week earlier, Summer would still be with us. If DCS was there 1 week earlier, those children would have already been removed. And people are filling up Candace's Cash App. Sick. If you don't believe in that, then fine. Don't believe in it. We have to agree to disagree. But I think it's sick. And I think anybody that gave that despicable woman a dime is sick. And you guys are watching her make a fool of herself on YouTube, drunk and under the influence. And you guys are doling her out money thinking she's going to get her voice back. Do you think DCS is stupid? I swear to God. I'm sure if they didn't, they will. I'm sure if they didn't, they will. Yes, but it would have stuck out by like a sore thumb. And trust me, people are driving up and down that road 60, 70 miles an hour. There are no cars that ever park there. So to see a car parked there somebody would have seen it. One of the neighbors are up and down that road all the time. The people with the tractors are up and down that road all the time. These are the things that people don't understand that have never went and looked at that area. So somebody would have seen a car parked right there. It's wide and it's open. They would have seen a car parked in an unusual spot. We didn't even park there. We had to park like there's a road that goes, and trust me, everybody and their brother knew we were there. So, I mean, you're right. They could have parked it there, but trust me, it wouldn't have gone without being noticed. I know. That is it. That is exactly it. Hell, I'm a subscriber to her too. Just sitting and waiting. So, all right, I'm going to try to get through these. I'm going to go back to my research. But that property's so big. And, with Don, it being Don's family's home, I mean, there's got to be places that nobody would even know about to even check. I mean, it's a huge piece of property. Huge. So you just don't know, and especially if she's been moved, like in the middle of the night. Was she on the property and now moved 3 miles away? I mean, I still think that they would want to keep an eye on where she would be. So if anybody got close, they would be able to prepare and embrace themselves. I just think she might be closer than anybody could imagine. I really do. I could be wrong, at this point in time. You just don't know. You just don't know. But I'm not going to be changing my opinion anytime soon unless there is new. Oh, Emma, how are you doing, honey? Oh, you're still in the hospital beginning. I'm sorry to hear that, honey. I love Emma. Emma's one of my friends, my overseas friends. She's not doing well. Everybody, we're praying for Summer. Throw Emma in your prayers too. She's been in the hospital for a few days, and we just want her to have a speedy recovery. Yeah, I saw that, Joan, and it disturbs me. I have to say, it really, truly disturbs me that somebody is trusting Candace, which has had every single one of her children she has given birth to ripped out of her arms by DCS, saying that she should not be a parent to children. And the only other child that wasn't taken from DCS is missing. So it's to have a child in the hotel room is just, I'm flabbergasted. That's the only word I can use. I can't either. You're right. People have been arrested for much less. I don't know. I don't know what is going on with Tennessee. I really don't. You pull this crap in Georgia. You pull this crap in Virginia. Heck, you pull this crap here in Florida. Your butt is sitting in jail. These people, Don, it's Candace Wells. If they were here in Florida, they would be sitting in jail right now. They would have been sitting in jail about 2 to 3 days after their child went missing. Tops. States don't play. I don't know what's going on with Tennessee. I don't know what's going on with Tennessee. It's sick. I love that. And that's true. That's true. That's insane. Let me just keep going through here. Sorry, I'm going through all this stuff. Yeah. Something's going on. I just feel it. I don't know why. I'm pretty up to date. Am I wrong? Yeah, just hearing the yell at approximate. Okay. Well, I knew it was like 3:40, but Candace said that flat out said that there was no scream and Jody Sue was full of it. I don't know why she was so adamant to criticize Jody Sue right out the gate. So it almost played as if that wasn't supposed to be known and she was surprised somebody else heard it and wanted to downplay it. I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's possible. I would think I would think it'd be more targeted though, but I don't know how many people are out there and if they're looking at a very specific area. We can only go off of what the Rogerville Review said, and it was very limited in their stuff. And we only have 2 photos that TBI put up, and again, limited in the description. So we don't really know what's going on. Proud mama, but we just went over all of this. When are people going to make the connection that if law enforcement is saying that there's no possibility of an abduction, when are people going to realize there's no possibility of an abduction? This false tale. I mean, Candace and Don have lied about so much. What makes people believe this is the one time they told the truth? They have literally lied about everything. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. All right. So I'm trying to get down to the bottom of all this stuff. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Karen. You're so sweet. I love you. We got some of the best people in here. We really do. Aw, which is United. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are great. Exactly. Me either. Me either. Work every day to figure out what I can do. Yeah, thank you, Karen. Thank you. Yeah, nobody has interrupted searches. Absolutely not. It's insanity. That's what people want to tell themselves. So, does that include your free future mother-in-law property? I don't know. They're not even telling us the real area. All the information that we've got is Beach Creek, and that property, I believe, is up Ben Hill and doesn't abut or adjoin in any way to Beach Creek. The only property that adjoins to Beach Creek is the Wells property. So Wells is on the corner of Ben Hill Road and Beach Creek. So I hope that clarifies. They're the Sherfies are further back on Ben Hill and up the mountain. So, and I've got to say that from my understanding is Don, the guy that we talked to, his son did not live in the area at the time. He lived over in county over. I don't know why my brain goes blank. I just said it just a little bit ago and I can't remember. But anyways, you guys know which one I'm talking about. We were over there. So he lived in that county. So I don't know. I really just don't know. Robin, I don't know. It started. I can't imagine it's over now because we just started hearing about it about an hour ago. Well, now I've been on the thing here, so it was probably about 2.5 hours ago. And another thing is, why are they starting so late in the day for a search? That doesn't make sense either. I didn't even put two and two together on that. Why are they starting so late in the day for the search? Seems odd. Seems odd. So, possibly. Possibly. It's funny. Oh, Benny's girlfriend, Penny. Yeah. All right, guys. Without further ado, Bella, it's strange that Candace posted a video in the AM of an Apache helicopter over a wildfire. The video is from a few weeks ago. Yeah, that's what I heard. Some people were saying the same thing. Yep. Yeah. So, all right, kiddos. Well, I will see you guys later. God bless each and every one of you. Just wanted to notify you that there is a search underway right now on Beach Creek. This will be the third search in and around that property in 9 months. So, again, they're saying after the word broke that they're out there, they're trying to say that it is a planned search. We have not been able to confirm that this was planned. To me, this just doesn't feel planned. It's too late in the day. There was a smaller newspaper that brought out the fact that there was a search going on, followed by a Twitter post from TBI, which typically works just the opposite. So we will see. At any rate, you guys all go make it a great Monday. God bless each and every one of you. And we will see you tomorrow for Coffee Club. Bye-bye.